and start sharing my screen, we won't be able to go. So, hey, welcome to Leadership 101 session number 3. This is going to be one of the shorter ones. We won't take it the full 30 minutes. If you have questions at the end, by all means, I want you to answer those questions. And we had some good questions by Coach Bird last time, just talking about humility, and then talking about sometimes when you're humble, how do you not come across as meek, at the same time, not come across as arrogant if you're leading. And there is a really fine line, guys. And I think it takes practice, and I think it takes time to figure that fine line out. And it's a combination of character traits. If you just pull one character trait out and just try to solely focus on that one character trait, you're going to have problems. And you're going to see us today as we talk about servant, being a servant, how all those character traits, everything just continues to mesh everything together. And so that's kind of exciting. At the same time, it's frustrating. Because if you are hurting in one character trait, it can hurt another character trait. And then that ultimately hurts your leadership. What I'm hoping for all of you is with your leadership traits, I hope you all can be leaders in some way, shape, or form. And, with COVID going into this, if we ever have a season like this again, I want to be set up, guys, where I can tell a Jack, I can tell a Teddy, I can tell a Sear, I can tell a Curtis, hey, you guys, you each got 10 guys that you got to get a hold of, and you got to see if they're working out. You got to see
what's their name,
have any questions, stuff like that. No, that's what I mean, though, Curtis, just in the sense of, but that's what I want. That's the eagerness I want. Like, hey, who do you need to get a hold of? And
group chat on Snapchat.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's what we want. We want those things kind of going like that. So, so that's exciting. And but we're gonna plow into this. I'm gonna share my screen here, and we're gonna go through the last character trait, a quick review, and then if you guys have any questions, you can either put them in the chat box, or you can put them. You can just ask them at the very, very end. And remember, when I talk about the spiritual side, it's the angle that I'm coming at. But I know that I fail miserably at these character traits at times, and I need help. Because I need help, guys, that's when I start to lean on my spiritual development and just really to help me get through these type of things. So, this being said, here we go. I'm loading up servant. All right. I think I've approached total bandwidth failure here. Come on. There we go. Frustrating. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Here we go. This is what happens when you're not technically savvy. Just about there. Talked about unconditional love last week. All right, Boost, chime in. Can you see this? And lose people.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. All right, so talking about a servant, guys, When we talk about being a servant, it's the last trait. We went through character traits. We talk about sacrifice. We talk about unconditional love. We talk about integrity. We're going to talk about being a servant. And so one example in the Bible, or one example that I grew up with, was when Jesus was, he came to him with two sons, and she said, "Hey, which one gets to sit at the right? Which gets to sit at the left?" And the other disciples were upset. Jesus settled the debate very simply. He just said, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave." He says, "The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." Jesus not only settled the debate with his words, but with his actions. Jesus served many and did so at the cost of his life. I think it's so important to realize that so often we are looking for that high end, who's going to be greatest. And,
You're lagging.
I'm lagging.
You're like breaking up.
Shoot. All right. I'm moving. I'm on the move. Thanks, Curtis. I appreciate you telling me. All right. All right. Let me know if I'm continuing to like here, guys. The next part, servant. The definition of servant is nothing profound. It's a person who performs duties for others, and yet nothing profound. One of the greatest acts of leadership you can do for a teammate is to serve them. So it's performing duties for others. So it's not rocket scientist on how to be a servant. Being a servant displays humility. In Philippians, it says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others." These verses could have been used as well in the teaching of remaining humble. They are appropriate here. In order to serve another, you are valuing others more than yourself when you serve them. Serving shows others you are willing to do anything for them. Thus, it strengthens your leadership by strengthening others' trust in you. So, one of the things within our program, within the South Football family, I expect this to be displayed, the act of being a servant, I expect it to be displayed by our leaders, by our seniors, our juniors, the older guys, the ones that want to be a leader. And so when equipment needs to be put away, I expect our leaders to be putting the equipment away, not bossing around and telling others to put it away. I expect them to lead by example. I think it's one of the greatest things you can do. And I mean, who would you rather follow? Would you rather follow somebody who's just always bossing you around, or would you rather follow somebody who's jumping in and helping you along the way? And so I think it's really, really important, this act of being a servant and what that means. So guys, in closing, take to heart this training, truly ponder what has been taught. A leader trains mentally, physically, and spiritually. A leader must be whole. One short training, a certificate, someone calling you a captain doesn't make you a leader. A life lived with the desire and display of the character that a leader should display is what makes others want to follow you. Throughout my years of coaching, so often kids are just dying to be a captain, and they want to be labeled as the captain. And so I've went away from that because I just feel it's a title. What makes a captain is somebody who does these character traits, somebody who possesses these leadership abilities. I think that's what's important. I think to receive a title, and so often coaches will give the title like at the previous banquet, he'll announce the captains for the upcoming season. Well, then what happens when the person doesn't live up to the expectations that you want them to? Are you going to remove that title from them? And so I think it's important. Sure, I think we give out captain awards, but we give it out at the end of the season or near the end of the season. Every now and then, though, we'll have somebody that we really feel displays these leadership characteristic traits at the beginning of the season, and then we're going to make sure that we place them up in front so that they can show by example a lot of these leadership traits. So leadership, sacrifice, it starts here. You have to be able to give something up. So giving something up for the greater good. We talked about that on day one in session one, giving something up for the greater good of the family. Then we want to possess integrity, and watch how these all intertwine. I mean, without sacrifice, there's no way you're going to start to develop character traits, because there's always going to be something out there that's going to keep you from desiring. A lot of guys aren't going to tune into YouTube this year. You guys are going to be ahead of the curve. You're going to possess some of the knowledge for these leadership traits, and then you're going to be given the opportunity to use those. But when we talked about integrity, we talked about accepting responsibility. And it's to embrace that which you should do and do it. Then we talked about rejecting passivity. And when we talked about rejecting passivity, it was dismiss the acceptance of doing nothing. I love that. So you basically reject the idea of I'm going to do nothing, and you go do something. You guys did that today just by even clicking on here tonight. Leading courageously. When you do that, to do that which you fear. And we talked about fear. We talked about overcoming that. And, there was a good question regarding that too. Not dismissing someone's fears, because their fears are real. Somebody else's feelings are real. But it's still embracing them and leading them courageously through those opportunities that you're given. Remain humble, and which is simply putting others first. Next week when we gather at Longfellow, if you haven't got a t-shirt, we'll get you a t-shirt, and we put humility across those t-shirts, because I think it's so important to understand that you have to think of others first. And we talked about the racial injustices, and really truly all racial injustice is others putting themselves above others. I mean, it's one race putting themselves above another. One race basically saying, I'm greater than you. And what that creates is a lack of trust. It creates major issues. And then we all seen, as that oppression continues to build over hundreds of years, the destruction that can come out of that. And it's such a, it bothers me so much, because I know I struggle in this area, but at the same time, I desire to not do that, to not put myself above other people. And I think we all need to have that desire. We're going to fail at times. There's going to be times in our lives where we are going to feel superior to somebody else. And those are the feelings that we have to fight. And then we receive the greater reward, God's greater reward. And there's a lot of those rewards along the ways, guys. Victories, leaderships. You may get named to be a captain, those type of things. There's a lot of rewards that you can receive by possessing these integrity traits. Talked about loving unconditionally, and that's really simple. I'm going to give you 0 reasons that I'm going to love you, and I'm just going to love you. That's just it. That's my sole desire and goal, is just to simply love you, not because you're a great football player, not because you took care of your academics, not because you do A, B, C, D, simply because I'm choosing to love you. And that's what makes a family really truly persevere. And then servant, we just talked about that, one who performs duties for another. I really like this. It's from the FCA's Competitors Creed, and I know it says the word Lord in there, but what I love about this is you can fill in the blanks as you so choose. I am the Lord's warrior, a competitor by conviction, and a disciple of determination. So, Taysir may be, I don't know if you're Muslim or not, Taysir, but the bottom line is you may be like, I am Allah's warrior. That's fine. You can fill in.
Muslim.
You're Muslim. So there you go. So I am Muhammad's warrior, a competitor by conviction and a disciple of determination. What I love about this, and this goes for all teammates, like I said, I filled it in. This is my PowerPoint. So I put Lord, you guys put what you desire there. But it means you're a warrior, you're a competitor. by your conviction and disciple of determination. So, Curtis wants to work out because he wants to better himself, but he should be convicted that if he's not working out, Teddy and Elijah and Taysir this year are going to suffer. Sam should be driven to work out to better himself, but he should be convicted to do those things. There should be a conviction within us. As a dad, I'm convicted to make sure that I work, to make sure that I make a paycheck because I need to provide for my family. That's a good thing. And I'm a disciple of determination. That means you are driven. To be a leader, you have got to be driven in all these areas that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'm going to come on back in with you guys. And so we kind of hammered it away, guys. And what I do, my whole goal is, and Busta has seen me do this now for years. I'm gonna fill your head knowledge, and then I hope it goes from your head to your heart. And I feel that once the character traits, once the leadership traits start to infect your heart and start to permeate who you are, I feel that you are going to better not only yourself, but those that are around you. And this is where I'm at. So as we better you, I hope you better the environment that you live in, the world that you live in. I believe that every single one of you can make a difference, not just with the South football family, not just at South High School, but in our society and the world that we live in. And that's a strong statement, but I believe in you. I love you, and I know those to be true, those character traits, because they're things that I'm constantly working on and constantly getting after. I am going to open up for any questions that may be out there. We had one chat, I see, Boos. Oh, I'm breaking up. All right. I moved to another better area, so hopefully I quit breaking up. But any questions? Anybody got any questions over the last couple of sessions? All right. It's the Zoom silence. Well, I don't stay on just to stay on. So I tell you what, I'm going to stop recording. But when I do that, let me stop here. Do you want to stop?